Welcome to Hannity Tonight. The Obama White House has been busted. There is now undeniable evidence that they, from the president on down, lied to you, the American people, about the lethal attacks in Benghazi that killed 4 innocent Americans, and that they engaged in a cover-up after that lie. And that's how we begin this very busy news night, which is why tonight I'm calling out the man who will do and say absolutely anything, all in an effort to advance the political agenda of the 44th president of the United States.
When I go and stand up in the podium and in front of the White House press corps, I never lie. I never say something that I know is not true.
You know, in the final year of World War II, President Franklin Roosevelt, he ordered a blessing by John Adams carved on the stone fireplace of the state dining room, where it can now be seen today. Now, this blessing comes from something that Adams wrote to his wife on November the 2nd, 1800. It says this. It says, "I pray heaven to bestow the best of blessings on this house and all that shall hereafter inhabit it. May none but honest and wise men ever rule under this roof." Well, today in America, a dishonest, unwise man rules under the roof of the White House. And John Adams, he's got to be spinning in his grave. Here with reaction tonight from the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow, and former Clinton special counsel Lanny Davis. Guys, good to see you.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
You know, Lanny, you and I, we went round and round about whether or not they were alone. It all depends what is. We have been told a series of lies here, and we can now prove them. I'm asking you as a Democrat, in light of what John Adams wrote his wife that day in 1800, does any of this bother you? Any of this you find difficult to swallow? Jay Carney's propaganda?
I don't share your belief. You're entitled to your belief that Jay Carney lied.
You've got to let me finish. The Ben Rhodes email is a fact.
Are you going to let me finish tonight,
yeah,
Sean? Because you had plenty of time in your opening.
All right.
I don't believe Jay Carney lied at all. I know one fact that you did not address, and I would invite you to address. I have read the 13 versions of the talking points, beginning with version 1 that the CIA said it drafted, that was circulated and went back and forth over 13 different versions where changes were made. One sentence never changed in all 13 versions. Fact. The CIA wrote the words, "This was a spontaneous demonstration." That's their phrase. And then it ended with, "triggered by Cairo protests." Fact. That was written by the CIA, was not invented by the Obama White House or the State Department or Ambassador Rice. And if there was a mistake, and there was a mistake made in the intelligence assessment about this being a spontaneous demonstration, we now know that was wrong, that
Lanny,
this was extremist and else.
Here's
it's
the
a
problem with your
mistake.
spin.
It is not a lie.
Here's
and
the problem with your
spin. There's a difference between mistake and lie.
The station, to get to that point that you're talking about, they ignored the station chief, the people on the ground in Libya, and they decided to write it out of Langley, Virginia. And on top of that, we have the November 28th, I have tape of Jay Carney saying, no, the only change we made was from consulate to diplomatic facility because that was the only thing we had to do. Now we know with the smoking gun email,
let me please
hang on, Jay Sekulow, we know that the White House was actively involved in the talking points.
Well, and let me say something else here, and Lanny, there is no explanation that's legitimate for this. Jay Carney is lying, not telling the truth when he says that this email was not about Benghazi, because this email became public only because our friends at Judicial Watch filed a lawsuit asking for documents related to Benghazi. A court ordered those to be released, and the Department of State Department, produces this email, which is response to the Benghazi attack. So the administration can try to change what it means, but the fact is the words speak for themselves. That's number one. Number two, Lanny, they handled this wrong from the beginning. We know, certainly we knew 3 days later. I think, obviously, we knew immediately that this had nothing to do with the video. They kept that narrative going. Some are continuing to keep that narrative going, and they do not take your advice, Lanny, which is come out, tell the truth, tell it often, and tell it directly. They still haven't done this. It is spin control, and they're institutionally incapable right now of self-correcting. That's the reality.
All right, guys, I'm not asking for equal time, but I would like to at least respond to the 2 points that were made and the last one that you just made, Jay. Number one, the fact is unrefuted by either one of you that the CIA wrote the word spontaneous demonstration triggered by Cairo protests. And that is what has been attributed to the Obama, excuse me, but that Cairo protests were, in fact, a response to the words video wasn't used, but you don't deny that the Cairo protests were in response to video. Secondly, on the point you just made about Ben Rhodes, give me a chance to respond, guys. Ben Rhodes was doing what I've been involved in, prepping people for Sunday shows. The larger question, and it was in the middle of a presidential campaign, is whether the Benghazi tragedy should be attributed to something lacking in the White House policy. And his point in prepping someone for a Sunday show is no, this tragedy was not about a failure of our policy. It was a tragedy.
So your position is
very
they were just trying to protect their narrative in the Middle East, which has been an utter failure. That's what they were trying to do, protect a narrative that's been a failure.
All right, but we have more on this coming up next.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you guys tonight right here on Hannity.